Welcome back to the SmokyVale. Good morning. Today I've got my crown featherweight pipe and smoking a little Lane Butter Rum. Fantastic stuff. I'm just gonna make a quick video this morning. It's been a rather long week. Yesterday, I helped my buddy Jason, who is the owner of AllFather's Meadery. And that's AllFather's Meadery in Campbell County, Kentucky. And him and I were at we had a booth yesterday at the first annual Northern Kentucky BierFest. It was to support the DCCH Center for Children and Families. It was for a good cause, and it was a great turnout. Got to meet a lot of great people. I had a great time. The Goblin, shout out to you guys over there in your food truck. Fantastic. That might be the best burger I've ever had. We got to try so many good beers yesterday. It was a pretty long event. So we got there and set up around noon. Of course, there was some preparation beforehand, but we got there, set up around noon, and then the event itself for VIP folks that decided to pay a little bit extra to get in earlier, that started at 3, and there was a pretty good amount to start, but then the event went till 8 o'clock. So, I mean, you're talking about, 5 hours? It was a long day. It was great though. Just getting to introduce a lot of people to some very delicious mead. When people hear mead or honey wine, as it is wine fermented with honey, a lot of times what people are familiar with is stuff like a Renaissance Fest. Unless you're from the Detroit area, where you actually have some great mead makers, what you're familiar with is probably not quality. And there's so many different types out there. When someone says mead, you can kind of think of it as like a category or a generic description for a bunch of subcategories of anything you can do with water, honey, and then maybe something else. Like if someone says Mollamel, it's like, Mulla what? It's like, yeah, Mollamel. And, that's water, honey, and then something with fruit. So, it's mead with fruit. And there's just all these different types of distinctions under that mead grouping. And we had a couple there yesterday. We had a Pyment, which, some people who noticed that name was like, Pyment, what's a Pyment? And what else do we have? But anyway, so there's all these different names for essentially the additional items you put into your batch of mead. So it's not just honey and water and then yeast fermenting the sugars. And so that was kind of cool. Kind of talking about some of that stuff, talking about the different honeys that Jason uses in his mead making, and of course just tons of great feedback. Everybody loved the stuff. I'm sure there was probably a couple people or something that visited. They were just like, it's okay, But everything we heard was fantastic. And from the feedback we got walking some of the booths around there, and there was a pretty decent amount of booths. Everyone was pretty happy with it. So hopefully we get to do it again next year. Hopefully the weather's nicer, because being out there even under a tent in 90 degrees with high humidity is not fun. But it was a great event. I'm glad we got to be a part of that. So, it's definitely a long day yesterday. And I think out of that, we definitely got some new fans of AllFather's Meadery, which is cool. You know, I love to help local businesses, small businesses, and especially any, you know, companies that my friends or clients run. You know, I'm super appreciative of whenever I can try to help someone out like that. So it was a good time. And while I did bring my pipe, I actually didn't smoke there. I could have. Actually, there was a shout out to my friend in the kilt walking around. If you happen to stumble upon this video, you know who you are, because you're the only one there who was there with a kilt. So, dude was in imbibing some great drinks and enjoying a cigar. So, shout out to you. But yeah, he told me he had actually talked to some authorities there and made sure it was okay to smoke, and it was. But I just never got around to it. It was so busy. I was telling my buddy Jason, I think we might have sat down twice. You know, you got to be there. You got to entertain. You know, talk about the product, the business. It was good. So, other than that, well, I think I still have a handful of cherries to review. That said, I have some interesting English blends that I want to talk about. And we definitely needed to have a discussion on Balkans versus English. Because I will say, out of the handful of Balkan blends that I have, and the ever-growing number of English blends I have, the Balkan blends and the plum pudding by, what is it, Seattle Tobacco Company, something like that, is good, but that's also a Balkan blend. I find that they either, like, it's because, I don't know if it's because of all the oils in the Latukia, but there's something about those, at least in my experience, where it seems like I have to get the bowl pretty warm, and it really takes a bit before you start to get to enjoy the tobacco. That said, I do enjoy the plum pudding, but I have yet to find a Balkan blend that surpasses an English blend. But yeah, I want to talk about that some more. And show off my new pipe that I just got. Arrived in the States finally from Peterson. It's a beautiful, beautiful pipe. So More to come. Stay tuned. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Smoke a bowl. Have a good one. Until next time, guys. Take it easy.